Hello, family and friends. Dr. LaFavor here. I am so excited to bring you another inspirational message. And as always, I'm in nature, a beautiful lake behind me as I bring this inspirational message. So, today we're talking about a very important topic: family relational problems. And we're always seeking to bring you insight to help your relationship be better from our book, Rebuilding and Repairing Relationships. As you know, all families face relational challenges. And we all go through conflicts and we all go through challenges, but through God's grace, His wisdom, He helps us to repair our relationships. And perhaps you're watching today, you may be going through a challenging time, but God's able to help you repair your relational problem. And there's so many problems, but today we want to tackle a few of the relational challenges that we face so we can help our relationships to be better. First, we want to give you a working definition. According to the Institute of Health, relational problems are clinical significant behavior patterns that occur between or among individuals and are associated with present distress. Notice what relational problems are: patterns or behaviors that happen between individuals, perhaps between a spouse, between siblings, a parent and a child, or a significant other. But these are patterns of behaviors. If they are not addressed, it can create a volcano of problems in our relationships. But God can help us overcome some of these problems. So, what are a few challenges that relationships have to face? Perhaps jealousy. That's one of the challenges that individuals face in their relationships. Perhaps you're watching and you grew up in a family and you felt like you got the short end of the stick. Notice what I said. You felt like you got the short end of the stick. And sometimes our perceptions can be a challenge, but God can help us overcome some of these relational challenges. Conflict, distress, all of these challenges that we face, emotional outbursts. But we want to encourage you to get the help that you need, because if these problems are not addressed, they can create what we call destructive entitlements. And what destructive entitlements are, these are things that we do, sometimes intentionally or unintentionally, to resolve the debt because we feel like the patterns of our relationships, perhaps there hasn't been equity, and because of it we're not really making wise choices. But when we learn to engage in proper, insightful decisions, we can make our relationships better. It says here in our book, Rebuilding and Repairing Relationships, the common relational problems that has been witnessed: perhaps common communication problems, fighting over money, jealousy, unfaithfulness, personality clashes, verbal, physical aggression. There's so many. But today we want to encourage you. You can make your relationship better, but it requires, as always, wisdom from God and the proper, insightful wisdom to make your relationship better. So, what I want to do today, I want to give you some tools, because with the proper tools you can't lose. Notice what I said: with the proper tools you can't lose. Have you ever had a home project to tackle, or perhaps you had to work on something and you needed tools to help you to solve the problem? That's the same thing in life. We need the proper tools to make our relationship better. And perhaps you're working with worn out tools, but today we want to give you some tips from our book, Rebuilding and Repairing Relationships. On page 40, here are some tools that Pastor LaFavor gave us to help us to make our relationship better. Number one, write your feelings clearly and concisely on paper and send them to the person you are having problems dealing with. That is a very important step, because many times we hold stuff in, and when it becomes pent up emotions it can cause us to respond in a way that can create or make the situation worse. But if we learn how to express ourselves, and sometimes you have to send a letter, perhaps express yourself through text or whatever means to express yourself so you can begin the process of getting out. Notice, getting all of the emotions out where you feel that you have been wronged, and because of it, you have entitlements. Well, we want to encourage you today, if you concisely and precisely express your feelings, perhaps if you can't tell the person, say it through a letter or through electronic means of communication where you can get those feelings out. Let me give you one more. Learn to communicate more effectively by acknowledging the feelings of the other person. Many times we are quick to listen and slow to understand what another person is dealing with. Or perhaps we're quick to respond. Let's say it that way. Sometimes we're quick to respond before we really think about how and what we have done that has contributed to some of the conflicts that we're dealing with in our relationship. Well, I want to encourage you today, if you're going through a challenge, you can make your relationship better through proper insight and wisdom. God wants you to experience better relationships, and sometimes it's just a simple saying, I'm sorry, and really granting someone forgiveness. Because why? God forgave us. And we can begin there and begin the process of repairing our relationships because you can have the relationship that God has and desires for you. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we encourage you to share these insightful tips with others and acknowledge the wrongs that may have occurred in your relationships. And when you've done this, you can make your relationship better. Well, thank you so much for tuning in from Nature here, Dr. LaFavor. May God bless you. Until next time, take care.